So let me ask you, how did you guys hook up? What's your earliest memory of Billy Lee?
Man, it's a long time ago. We are long time friends. And it was nice that we first got to meet through music, through performing. I was on tour with a version of the Platters, playing a lot of old 60s music. And we came to Florida and met this man and found out he was a wonderful singer. And they snatched him up.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I came out and auditioned, and they brought me in that night and auditioned, and next thing I knew, I was on the road.
That's right.
And Vic was the music director at the time.
For the whole band?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a small, small band, maybe 4 or 5 piece or something like that. We had spent a lot of years together.
Yeah, that's great. What was your first impression of Billy?
Great singer. Great vocalist. I didn't really know him as a person yet, but we all knew right away this is a real singer. Which we felt. I wasn't really in on the decision making, but I was able to voice. This is a real singer. And I will say this too. There's difference between singers and real singers, in my opinion. There are, it's hard to put it into words now that I'm trying to, but when you hear the difference, you know the difference right away. Billy Lee is a real singer.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I'm working with him. Is there anything from the early days about his character that stands out in your mind?
Well, I just finished doing a little talk with some high school students, and one of the things we said is that a lot of us practice our craft in order to be professional musicians, only to find out when you get there that a lot of it has to do with who you are as a person. Your musicianship may get you a gig. I can play the bass real good. That may get you a gig, but who you are as a person is what either allows you to keep that gig or lose it.
Yeah, that's what defines you with your fans too.
Right. Yeah. So all I'll say with that is Billy was in the band for a long time.
So you must have a good funny story from those early days about Billy.
Wow, man. I gotta think about it.
Or Hollywood, right?
Hollywood. I guess really the only thing that really comes to mind is, I wasn't married at the time, but I would make recordings of the show and send it to my now wife, my girlfriend, who was in college.
Yeah.
And even today, to this day, if I said, "Oh, I saw Billy Lee today," she'll go, "Hollywood, Billy Lee," because that's the way they introduce him every night.
Yeah.
So he wasn't just Billy Lee; he was Hollywood, Billy.
That's right. And I can say that every time I run into anybody from his past, it's the same way they greet us. Hollywood.
I got one I would like to share about Vic. we were getting ready to go on the road, and we were we packing all the gear in the van and all of that, and all the luggage, and we were waiting for someone. We were always waiting for somebody. I don't know who it was, but we were waiting for someone, and we were all standing outside talking, and all of a sudden I looked up and I hear, "Whoa, whoa," and Vic was hanging on the street sign. You remember that? He had the street sign like that, and his legs, and he had himself blowing out like that, like he was blowing in the wind. I was amazed. I was like, my God, the strength that it takes to do that. Yeah, you remember that?
Younger days.
Yeah.
Younger days.
We laughed. So you forgot that.
So when Billy came back and asked you to play on his tracks, so what made you say yes to that?
Well, again, just the loyalty of friendship, really, at first. He's one of the few people, really, from that group and that era. And of course, some of the older singers have passed on now. but we just kept in touch always. And I really appreciate the fact that Billy reached out to keep in touch with me. Because I surely didn't do it. You know, touring around all the time, you know, that's an excuse, but I wasn't good at keeping in touch. But Billy really reached out and kept in touch with me all these years. The other thing was that I knew whatever he was doing was going to be good and worth playing with. At the same time, a third fact was that, you know, I have been, you know, semi-successful with what I'm doing. And so I want to reach out and lend a hand to anybody. Well, let's scratch that. Not anybody. But people that are honest, good people, and really doing something positive and trying to do the right thing with their talents. I'm there for them.
I wouldn't characterize it as semi-successful. Characterize it as
yeah. I agree with that.
All the lonely people, where do they all come from? All the lonely people, where do they